Hey girl.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey girl, hey.
What's up?
Welcome to more of this. This is Summon Greater Podcast.
It sure is.
What do you think of that?
I think it's pretty sick.
I think I'm Sam.
I think I'm Skyler.
We're just not sure about that this week.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because it's spooky season.
It's getting a little bewitched out there.
It's getting kind of spoopy.
And do we gotta stay on our toes, dude?
Stay on our toes?
I guess.
Yeah, it's true. Because you want to know why?
No!
Because this episode is airing on Friday the 13th.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
This is the worst possible timeline. Or the best.
So what better way to celebrate Friday the 13th than by talking about D&D characters?
What better way to celebrate than being a silly little bear about it?
Yeah. I love bears.
Oh?
Bears. They're like great.
Noted.
Yeah. I just wish that you could cuddle them.
You can.
Well, once.
Always.
We might be talking about different bears.
There we go. There we go. Oh, shit.
I like the forest ones with the fuzzy little ears.
Me too, man.
Okay.
They're great.
Yeah.
That smoky motherfucker, love him.
Smoking pretty good.
Dude, you got mail.
You've got mail.
We both got mail.
Yeah.
We got mail from a guy named Jose.
Jose.
He's new to D&D, and I love that for him.
They're some of my favorite people. They don't have any bad habits.
I hope not.
Well, bad D&D habits. Because, you got to learn how to play D&D. So you don't have any bad habits to, unlearn.
That's real true.
Some people come in and they're like, oh, man, I've played D&D for years. And then they, sit down to play a one-shot with you. And it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we got to work on some stuff.
Yeah. He says, I'm pretty new to D&D. Got into it because of a friend who made a campaign. I was wondering how you guys would build a thief bard with their weapon being a Pied Piper flute or a guitar or just some instrument with the premise that it can mind control others. Thank you guys for reading this. You are awesome people. Hope you have a wonderful day. We have been.
You're
and we
awesome
hope
people.
You are also.
You're awesome people, Jose.
Initially, I was like, do I want to homebrew a kind of weapon here? Don't know if I do. What I think I would actually want to do here is just give him a flute, make it, an heirloom or something, give it some kind of status in either your family, or make it, a legendary item that this character as a rogue, had to find in a nearby mausoleum or something. And I say rogue because I do think that this is obviously a bard rogue multi-class if it's thief bard, right? As you're picking the thief subclass of rogue. So I built out a level 20 character. Obviously, starting out, your character's not going to be level 20. I would imagine you multi-class quite early on. 6 levels of rogue and the rest in bard. So you've got the thief subclass for rogue and College of Whispers for bard.
Oh, that's so good for the Pied Piper thing.
I think those coincide really well with each other also because, just the reputation of
Sneaky
College
spoopy.
of Whispers bards being kind of rat bastards. Obviously personality doesn't have to match that. That's just how I wanted to do this. So just to fit the theme, I gave a couple of magical pipes to this character. I called him, just for the sake of brevity in my explanation here, this character I called Sycamore Maze.
That's such a cool name.
He is a half elf. Part of that is because I realized I've been kind of using half elf as like the default in my brain for when I make characters, but also really high charisma score. +2.
Yes.
And throughout the build, I've piled on charisma.
Also, honestly, I think half elf is just one of the most common races.
That's probably true, and
most commonly used and most commonly found.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think that's super true. So there are 2 instruments in base D&D that I think are relevant here. You have the Pipes of Haunting. For both of these, you have to be proficient with wind instruments. They have 3 charges. You can use an action to play them and expend one charge to create an eerie spellbinding tune. Each creature within 30 feet of you that hears you play must succeed on a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw or become frightened of you for 1 minute.
Ooh.
If you wish, all creatures in the area that aren't hostile toward you will automatically succeed on the saving throw.
That's cool.
That's great. A creature that fails the saving throw can repeat it at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. A creature that succeeds on its saving throw is immune to the effect of these pipes for 24 hours. The pipes regain 1d3 expended charges daily at dawn.
That's awesome.
Simple enough. Now, there's a little bit of dichotomy throughout what this character can do. I figure, it's kind of half mind control, half like straight debuffs.
Yeah, like fear mongering kind of thing.
Pipes of the Sewers. Do you know this one?
I think so.
Yeah. 3 charges again. If you play the pipes as an action, you can use a bonus action to expend 1 to 3 charges, calling forth 1 swarm of rats with each expended charge, provided that enough rats are within half a mile of you to be called in this fashion, as determined by the GM.
Hell yeah.
If there aren't enough rats to form a swarm, the charge is wasted. Called swarms move toward the music by the shortest available route, but aren't under your control otherwise. The pipes regain 1d3 expended charges daily at dawn.
Bard's got to have his magic pipe.
Yes. And there's a little bit more going on with that, but I'm not going to read it. You get the gist. So, okay. Did I mention the stipulation of the flute here? Having it be your spellcasting focus?
I don't think you did.
Okay. Well, that is one of the core components of this whole build is the flute is your spellcasting focus. Which is nothing new for bards, but like that's how this one does it.
Mm-hmm.
For the flavor. And that is real key to keep in mind when you consider our spell list. These are all relevant, except for maybe the cantrips here. So pretty obvious stuff. You get animal friendship. You get heroism. You get speak with animals. You get hypnotic pattern later on, and then charm monster, and then charm person, and then dominate person.
Oh yes.
And then mass suggestion. Some of these are higher level, but you see where this is going. This is a mind control build, and that is fun. Oh, and Otto's irresistible dance.
Yeah,
because how could you not?
Mm-hmm. Fun fact for you, Jose, since you are new to D&D, I don't know if you know this or not. Otto's irresistible dance does not have a saving throw. They just start dancing.
They sure do. This is a 6th level spell.
Yeah, it's 6th level spell, so it'll take you a while to get there. But that is one of the strongest like debuff spells in the game is Otto's irresistible dance. They have to use their entire movement to dance in place, and they can't do anything to stop it.
Yeah, that's real messed up, but that is as Pied Piper as it gets. I also added a few spells that are just like what is the word that I'm trying to think of here?
Just useful.
Just like evocations.
Just some like damage ones.
Yes, but like specifically meant to fill kind of a summoner role.
Oh, okay.
So you get your Bigby's hand. You get Arms of Hadar. Dancing Lights as a cantrip. Seems fine enough to me. Play a little jingle on your flute and a bunch of dancing lights appear.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Lots of concentration based spells.
Oh, and Mage Hand. Mage Hand. I think the flavor of using a flute for all of these is so fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the music, crafting the spell and doing the thing. It's so good.
It's really good.
It's a really, dare I say, it's an underutilized aspect of Bard in D&D.
Yeah. It's a weakness, but it's an interesting weakness. You're not stealthy if you're casting spells.
Yeah.
You're just not.
Yeah.
And you gotta kind of coordinate around that. And, you know, obviously to some people, that's like a reason you should not build this kind of character. But like, I think that is fun narratively.
Rogues aren't always stealthy. Rogues just are not always stealthy. Sometimes rogues are arrogant, blustering, in your face, egotistical, whatever.
Well, and like being a rogue, you also have some rogue shit that you could do. So like, you know, you can have your moments here.
Dude, having bonus action disengage on a spellcaster is so good. It's so good. You can just be like, don't hit me. Nope, bye.
Yeah. Hell no. Yeah, that's very, very good for this build.
Did you have like a backstory?
Not beyond what I mentioned for the possibility of like how you get the weapon and all that, you know, how you get the flute rather. Was there something that you were thinking of?
Well, I kind of mentioned it earlier when you first told me about Jose's email. I really like the idea of having like a rogue bard multi-class kind of be like a more middle-aged guy that was like moved away from his family to a big city to go be an entertainer or a performer and kind of bombed.
Oh yeah.
And just like a failed performer.
Yep. And
so they're just like trying to pick up odd jobs and do what they can. And they're like, I can play a song, but you know, no one really wants you to. Yeah. So I was like, obviously that's not like a very like in-depth like backstory, but I just think it's a really, really cool angle to approach it from.
Yeah.
Rather than having it be like, oh yeah, it's like a 19-year-old kid who's leaving home for the first time to go figure out what he wants to do with his life. Like this guy tried.
Yeah.
And he failed. And now he's just,
do you think he's like running from a past life, but then it kind of follows him? Like he's never really in the clear.
Maybe you could play it where like he owes a lot of people a lot of money. Like maybe he like promised them like this big payout on like a gig or something, and then no one showed up, and they're like, okay, you owe us.
Yeah. Tough.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it could be really, really fun to play it as like some homeless, like 2 gold for a song, mister, like kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a really, really fun way to approach a character.
Yeah. I imagine like he, you know, does that kind of thing, but then like, you know, mind controls people. Like maybe you work with your DM and you get like some kind of mind control suggestion type thing earlier on than those later levels.
Yeah, or friends, the cantrip friends.
Friends would be enough for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Just something
that is
like,
fine.
Like, hey, can you give me like a gold piece to help me out with like some food or something like that? And you just cast friends on them, and then they're like, oh yeah, here you go for sure, buddy. Yeah. And then you just freaking run. Yeah. Because when friends runs out, they know that you enchanted them.
And that's when you are using the rogue part of your build.
Exactly. Yeah. That's so cool. It's fun. Because then especially once you get to like higher levels and you learn the like actual like dominate person or like suggestion and all that, you learn those spells that are far harder to track. You can actually start making more money and being like, okay, now I'm making money doing this thing that I'm really good at. Do I want to use that to go be a performer, or do I just like give up on performing and just turn into a con artist? I think it's a really cool direction that you can take your character from a role play standpoint to say, how do I want to be this character? What does this character want to be?
Yeah. Oh, cool stuff. Thank you for the submission, Jose.
Yeah, man, this is fun. We love doing this.
Yeah, that's fun stuff to come up with.
And there is always a new spin on any character multi-class combination that you could possibly think of. So don't feel like you need to hold on to yours because it's been done before. If you want to try it from a different angle, tell us. So I have a character that I've kind of been sitting on for a while. And I've told you about this character, and I've told Sophia about this character. I don't really have a campaign that I feel like he fits in yet. So I haven't played him. But I came up with this idea because I was just thinking one day about blood hunters. I have never played a blood hunter before. I've always kind of looked at the class and gone, it's an all right martial class with some cool abilities, but they're not as good as spells, and they're not as good as pure martial classes. Right. Yeah. So I kind of just had that like chip on my shoulder about blood hunters.
You always talk about this class kind of wistfully, though.
Yeah. It's one of those classes where like at higher levels, you can do some really cool stuff with it. But I'm impatient. So I don't like having to wait until I get to higher levels. But I found a way to kind of trick my brain into doing it anyway. With this, specifically with this character, because of their backstory. So this one, I really like bringing it up now, especially when we're talking about like Halloween's coming up and like all of the like spookier, like kind of darker sides of like D&D characters. This is definitely one of the darkest character backstories I've ever written. And it's definitely not the darkest one out there. I'm sure several people can listen to this episode and be like, I've done better in my sleep. Right. You probably have.
Is this one that you've brought up to me before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, so you kind of know what's coming. So I statted out a level 20 blood hunter sheet for this guy. I gave him the name Endrin, just so that he has a name so I can refer to him as something. So Endrin is, by the end of everything, he will be a level 20 blood hunter, 16 strength, 14 dexterity, 16 constitution, 18 intelligence, 12 wisdom, 10 charisma. Not a very charismatic guy. Mainly in strength, constitution, and intelligence. Has proficiency in arcana, insight, investigation, religion, and survival. Yeah, so just kind of a scrappy all-around guy. His shtick, going right into the backstory, before I talk about what else is on the character. Endrin's whole deal is that he became a blood hunter against his will. So he and his wife and newborn son were living in a village. He was a farmer. And they were just living in this little village of other farmers. And there was a wizard tower about a mile outside of town. And they were going on with their lives as normal. And then one day, the wizard who lived in the tower was studying and seeking out new arcane knowledge, as all wizards do. And he cast a summoning spell, summoned a demon, and promptly lost control of the spell. Could not control the demon. So the demon broke out of the tower, went on a rampage, and obviously found the village and started killing everyone in the village. Went on this massive rampage. About half of the village was killed, the other half was running away. And then this demon found Endrin and his family, got into their house where they were hiding, killed Endrin's wife, and killed Endrin's newborn son, And then right as it was about to kill Endrin, it reached him. It got its claws into his chest.
Mhm.
And right as it was about to like grab his heart and pull it out of his rib cage, the summoning wore off. So this demon had its claws in him and then poof, vanished.
Oh.
Back to the abyss, back to the hells. Wherever it came from. So Endrin did not die.
Uh-huh.
But he got infected.
Right.
So he is a Order of the Mutant. Thank you, is the name of it. So he has what's called mutagen craft. He can craft like these formulas that will like alter his body and things like that. So the way that I am going to skin it is that they're not necessarily things that he creates and applies to himself. They are different side effects of the infection.
Oh, okay.
That come to light in different times, in different ways. It's kind of like the infection itself is semi-sentient to the point of knowing that it wants to protect itself. So it's like the most basic form of venom. Spider-Man.
The word symbiote popped into my head immediately.
Yeah. Exactly.
Great.
So it's not technically a symbiote because it has no sentience. It can't communicate. It can't understand language, anything. It's just, that was the way that it made most sense for me to have these abilities trigger as if you had used them on yourself, is that this infection is trying to keep itself alive. So Endrin, after his family was viciously slaughtered in front of him, wandered into the wilderness and just prayed for death. And the infection kept him alive. But he is in constant 24/7 physical pain because of it. Because it is like eating at his body. So I'm looking at this from the point of view of, this is a character with very severe trauma, very severe depression. And my goal as the player piloting this character is for them to heal from this. So I'm not playing this character with the purpose of like, I just want to be dark and edgy. No, I'm doing this because I want this character to find like something to live for, to find a new goal in their life and to grow out of this kind of a
purpose.
New purpose. All of the Blood Hunter abilities are side effects of this infection that he has. And his whole purpose in life is to, after all this has happened, track down the wizard and get revenge for his family. Always suffering, always in physical pain. And so it's just an absolute miserable character. No charisma because he's not trying to make friends with anyone. He's not trying to intimidate anybody. He's just miserable. And he wants to, very selfishly, he wants to inflict this same pain on the person that did this to his family. So the whole point of this character is to be someone that the party that he joins can help him through this kind of a thing.
It's a great backstory.
Yeah.
And like a good use of the Blood Hunter class.
Yeah. And that's, like I said, that's something that I've kind of been looking for, is like, it's hard for me to look at Blood Hunter in the early levels because it doesn't look that impressive for several levels. But with this backstory, it made sense. Because it's like, he is nowhere near a trained warrior. He's nowhere near anyone who even understands what's going on.
Yeah.
So a lot of journey of like learning about what happened and kind of figuring out how to hold his own in the world.
Yeah. Good. So I've got a character or two here. I've had these sitting in my stash for a minute, actually.
Ooh, do tell.
So this one's actually a real person, a celebrity, an actor. Realized I don't actually know how to pronounce the last name. Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill.
I think that's how you pronounce it. That's correct.
Yeah. Cool. Dude, Henry Cavill's a freaking legend.
Yeah. Do you have thoughts before I go anywhere?
Do I have thoughts on Henry Cavill? Okay. I think Henry Cavill is the buffest artificer in existence.
Artificer.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Why artificer?
Because he's a fucking nerd.
He is a nerd. Yes. Yes.
I think he is an artificer because I'm basing this purely off of the fact that he plays Warhammer.
That's solid reasoning, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like, the patience that you have to like build the armies and paint the minis and things like that, I think that lends itself to being a crafter of some kind. And also, he knows so much about Warhammer, about The Witcher, about like all of these games. And he played Geralt of Rivia in The Witcher. And there was controversy about how or why he wound up no longer playing Geralt moving forward. People have put out there that he was kicked off the project because he was telling them that how they were writing it was wrong.
Oh no.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it would not surprise me.
It's a funny theory.
It is really funny. But yeah, it's because he has played The Witcher and he plays Warhammer and I think Artificer makes a lot of sense.
That's interesting. Okay. I like your reasoning. What I have here is Goliath champion fighter.
Ooh.
Goliath is easy enough. He's a huge dude.
He's a Goliath.
I put down champion fighter because Geralt, Superman, and he in his real life practices Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. That's so sick.
He's a fighting man.
See, when you said that, I pictured the oh god, what movie is it from? I'm not gonna remember now, am I? Oh, I think it might have been James Bond. The arm reload. It was Mission Impossible, not James Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bathroom fight scene where he reloads his arms.
Why is that a thing?
He did it on accident.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen the interview where he talked about it. He said he did it on accident. I think he said because he was adjusting his shirt or something like that. But he didn't want to like pick and poke at it.
Yeah.
So he just kind of like stretched his arms. And then no, it was just like a quirky thing that he was like, oh, what if I did this? And like they did it and they were like, cut, okay, whatever. And he felt super embarrassed about it. And so like, all right, retake. And they went out there and he didn't do it. And the director was like, well, stop. Where'd the thing go?
That's so funny because it is dweeby as shit. And I've seen people like tear into that on Twitter because it looks ridiculous.
It really does, but it's so funny.
But like I'm sure
iconic.
You know, if it's in the context of a Mission Impossible movie, like all of that weird action movie stuff is on the table. That's funny.
But yeah, so when you said champion fighter, that was the first thing that popped in my head. Is like
it's just him reloading his arm. That's really funny.
Yeah, Goliath is a good race for him. I like Goliath. I think it's so. I shouldn't say easy. It's so easy to pick like half orc or Goliath or something like that for those kinds of people. I'm trying to see if I can think of one that's not that.
Yeah. I agree with that sentiment because like it does feel a little bit to me like picking dwarf for anyone who's like a little bit overweight or has a beard.
Like Jack Black.
Like Jack Black.
It's too easy, internet. That's why we did it better.
That's why he's a satyr.
It's true.
Look at the way he moves. Look at the way he sings.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm gonna pull up the actual race list from D&D Beyond here to see if just anything jumps out at
While
me.
you're doing that, I'm gonna give you a different character, but just an absolute layup that we hardly have to talk about. Beast Boy from Teen Titans.
I think Beast Boy should be a sorcerer.
Beast Boy is a goblin druid.
Yes, he is. Absolutely is a goblin druid. That's so freaking funny. I love that so much.
That's like the easiest one I have in my list.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, there's no reason to even like. I think the only thing that's up for debate with that is what subclass.
That is an interesting thing.
Like, I could kind of see him doing Circle of the Moon, but the only thing with that is Circle of the Moon at higher levels gets like the elemental transformations.
That is the thing. He
I don't
doesn't
see that for him.
do much of that at all.
I would almost say Circle of Shepherds.
Yeah, it is probably a toss up between a couple here. If I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty simple in being either shepherd or land.
Yeah, that's true. See, I haven't done enough with Circle of the Land.
Yeah.
Like that's my red flag as a human being is that I pass over Circle of the Land like it doesn't exist.
Right, because it seems like it's the most basic ass druid subclass.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. And like, I'm in the wrong, obviously, because it does have some pretty cool abilities and shit that you can do with it, but I just ignore it because Circle of the Moon exists.
Moving through difficult terrain with no extra movement makes sense.
Yeah. Gonna call us back to ye ol' Mr. Henry Cavill here.
Mr. Henry.
Dragonborn.
Ooh. Okay. I think that's pretty good.
I like that a lot because it's like very imposing presence, very intimidating kind of a thing.
Yeah. But kind of a teddy bear at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Would absolutely blow flames onto the ground to like warm up a bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a guy.
What a guy. And Beast Boy. What a boy.
And now it's time to get spooky.
We're getting real spooky here, guys.
We have a couple characters to talk about.
We sure do. There's a movie coming out soon, my friends. By the time this episode goes up, I believe that movie will be coming out in just under 2 weeks.
Really?
Or just over? Just over 2 weeks.
Just over. The 27th of October.
27th of October.
The Five Nights at Freddy's movie comes out.
My wife is an...
Say that one again.
My wife.
There you go.
is an absolute legend. And she is a genius when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy's. Super fan. She's been playing since the beginning. She knows all of the lore. And she has several opinions on what lore is correct and how many people on the internet are stupid. and
the morality of the series as a whole.
Yeah. And she's my wife, so her opinion is correct. And internet, if you disagree, you're wrong.
That's true.
Her absolute favorite character ever in Five Nights at Freddy's is Foxy.
Yes.
From the first game. So I kind of wanted to do like, not really like a series, but I wanted to kind of theme our October episodes around spookier stuff and like do a little bit of horror and talk a little bit about like some scary movies and things like that, or some of the scarier like modules in D&D, like Curse of Strahd. So when I brought up this idea to Sophia, she immediately launched into, well, I think this character would be good to talk about, and I don't think this one would be very good to talk about. And this one, a lot of people would probably want you to talk about, but I don't think they're actually all that interesting from a D&D perspective, because I think that was the longest ride home from work I think I'd had in a long time.
Yeah.
It was amazing, but I was like, I can't keep up with you. I don't understand. But so we asked her opinion on a couple characters she thought would be good for us to talk about. And she gave us Foxy from Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and
specifically that one.
Yes, and Toy Bonnie from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So I'm going to start with Foxy. Tabaxi, swashbuckler rogue. Super fitting. Super fitting. Pirate themed, very sneaky, and super fucking scary.
Yeah. That first feat especially. Yes.
So she even went so far as to talk about feats and how some of the stats should look. So one of the first feats that she mentioned that Foxy would have is the Charger feat, which is, in the context of this character, fucking horrifying. Because he's just gonna run at you.
Yeah, it makes the most sense for Foxy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of any of them.
The other feat that she has requested for Foxy is the Piercer feat, which will increase the amount of damage that you do with piercing damage.
Yeah.
Nom nom bite, going to hurt hard.
Yeah. Big teeth, big claws.
And yeah, the Charger feat basically just adds some damage onto your attack if you moved a certain amount of distance in your turn. So it's all about running at people as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Foxy should have high dexterity and strength and low charisma. I think the only exception to that would be you'd probably want middling charisma, specifically because charisma is used for intimidation.
I mean, Foxy's kind of intimidating.
Right, that's the thing. So I don't think charisma should be a low stat.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could just like give him that proficiency also.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. With rogues, you get proficiency and then you get expertise.
Yeah.
So even if your charisma is low, you can theoretically make up for it by giving them expertise in intimidation.
Right.
So
yeah.
But I think it's very smart to have low charisma with Foxy for the rest of the charisma abilities, because Foxy ain't making no friends.
Right. Yup.
But yeah, so she said that intimidation should be Foxy's highest skill, followed by athletics and maybe stealth.
That makes sense to me.
I agree. The one thing that I really like specifically about the Tabaxi choice, obviously you have the movement increase because Tabaxi can double their movement and unarmed strikes.
Yeah.
Tabaxi have the claw attacks, which I think is just so good.
This is all a very good fit.
Yeah, absolutely. Super freaking good. But I really like this one. I have been wanting to get into Five Nights at Freddy's for a long time. I know very little about the series. All I know about Five Nights at Freddy's is what I have watched my wife play,
which comparatively is a lot.
That's true. That's true. I have seen a lot of it.
Yeah.
But there will always be more about the lore that I can learn, because I don't really know what happened behind the scenes and everything. And the reason I talk about this is because of the two characters that Sophia offered to us. You will notice a glaring absence in the two. She didn't give us Freddy.
Nope.
From any of the games. And obviously she did Foxy because it's her favorite character. And Foxy's amazing. I love Foxy. I like Foxy more than Freddy. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but
Freddy's a washed up figurehead anyway.
Fair.
Talk to me about the rabbit.
The rabbit. So the reason why Sophia gave us Bonnie rather than Freddy for Five Nights 2 is, these are her words. Don't think that I know any of this stuff because I don't. She told me what to say. Bonnie was the original inspiration for Five Nights at Freddy's in general. The entire series. Scott Cawthon, the first animatronic that he made and designed was Bonnie. And that's where the whole thing came from. So she said, if you want to have a really special one, do Bonnie, not Freddy. So for Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is the animatronics get a cleaner, smoother, more updated, modern look to them. So they're referred to as the toy animatronics. Toy Bonnie from Five Nights at Freddy's 2, she has categorized as a Warforged Gloomstalker Ranger, which I think is so fucking badass.
We need to specify. I think this is a good time to do so. Toy Bonnie is a Warforged. Foxy, the FNAF 1 Foxy build, is not.
Yes.
Because
correct.
The FNAF 2 animatronics are in fact fully robotic. And the FNAF 1 animatronic, they're the suits, right? They're all the suits.
They're spring lock suits.
Yeah.
They were never meant to be fully animatronic. Yeah. So no, they are not all Warforged. We will stand by that opinion.
Especially FNAF 2 animatronics are especially Warforged, though.
Yeah, they definitely get it.
And I would say the same for a bunch of the sister location ones, but you know.
Yeah.
We're getting in the weeds.
There are some that Warforged makes a lot of sense for, but for the love of God, be more creative. Like, tell me Tabaxi does not make sense for Foxy. I think it's perfect. Yeah, so Toy Bonnie, Warforged Gloomstalker Ranger. Warforged for the reasons we just specified. Gloomstalker Ranger is just crazy cool. Love the names of their abilities on this subclass. It's hard for me to choose to play Ranger just because I have beef with it and I don't like the class as a whole. But yeah, these abilities on Gloomstalker are so cool. Third level, Dread Ambusher.
Dread Ambusher.
Right?
Okay.
And then paired up with that, also at third level, Umbral Sight. Like, they're so cool. Dread Ambusher, you have a bonus to your initiative equal to your wisdom modifier. I'm not going to go into all of the details here because we could be here for like an hour. Umbral Sight, dark vision out to a range of 60 feet. If you already had dark vision, range increases by 30 feet. Also, while in darkness, you are completely invisible to any creature that relies on dark vision to see you in that darkness. Super, super cool. So yeah, very thematic for Five Nights at Freddy's with like all of them sneaking around and everything. Sophia has specified that for feats, Toy Bonnie would get the Keen Mind feat, and I think she mentioned that she believes all of the toy animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's 2 should have this feat, specifically because of the facial recognition system that they have in that game.
Yeah.
And then she also suggested the Cruel feat. Let me make sure that I have everything this does correct before I talk about it. Yes, this is one of the new feats that just came out with the most recent Critical Role source book.
you gain a number of cruelty dice equal to your proficiency bonus.
Oh, I love this one.
Your cruelty dice are d6s. You can roll only one cruelty die per turn, and a cruelty die is spent when you roll it. You can roll cruelty die under any of the following circumstances with the indicated result. When you deal damage to a creature, spend one cruelty die to deal extra damage equal to the roll. When you score a critical hit, spend a cruelty die to gain temporary hit points equal to the roll. Or when you make an intimidation check, spend one cruelty die and add the roll to your check. You regain all of your spent cruelty dice when you finish a long rest. I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But yeah.
Fits the personality that she's described.
Yeah, for sure. Skills wise, she has said that deception should be Bonnie's highest skill, followed by investigation and then insight. Which I think, again, makes a lot of sense for like the facial recognition and everything like that.
Yeah. Did she give a reason for deception?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
But I think it has to do with some specific like interactions with Bonnie in the game. We are going to wind up having a guest episode at some point when we can get our equipment set up for it.
Yeah.
Where we will have her on to talk all about the Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics and everything.
Yeah.
And she's very excited for that.
Yeah.
So we can hold this one and ask her what exactly she meant by that when we have her on. But for anyone who's going to tell us, hey, if you made Foxy a tabaxi, why would you not make Bonnie a herringon? Because he's a rabbit. And to that we say to you, he's a Warforged.
Toy Bonnie.
Toy Bonnie. Maybe one of the other Bonnies will be a herringon, but
I imagine FNAF 1 Bonnie, there's an argument to be made.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I have been instructed to tell you, the internet, that if you disagree with us, she will use Five Nights at Freddy's quotes to fight with you in the comments. So, good luck. If you disagree, maybe either keep it to yourself or be ready for my wife to emerge from the weeds and fight with you.
She'll kill you, dude.
She'll cut a bitch. Oh man. But yeah, dude, I think it would be super, super fun to play a mini campaign or a one shot where people are playing as the animatronics.
Oh.
And like the security guard is the big evil bad.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's just like a dungeon crawl.
I want her to DM that.
Right.
That would be a really good one shot.
That would be so sick.
Uh-huh.
Halloween's coming. I might be able to convince her.
Yeah. Ooh.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it to give her time.
Faux show. Well, I think we're pretty close to time.
Yeah. If you do disagree with any of that, despite what we said, you should say it anyway.
Absolutely.
Because that will be funny.
And we want to hear it. Even if my wife doesn't, we do.
And if you've got stuff that you want us to talk about on here, you should send it to us. You can comment it on any of our socials, of course. We have our TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube shorts. All of the relevant stuff is listed in the description. You should go ahead and put your longer submissions like homebrew or character concepts or whatever you got. DM it to us at summongreater on Twitter or summongreaterpod@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
We check all of these things. We check our comments. We check our email.
Yes.
I keep forgetting to check the Twitter, but I'll get on that.
And thank you again to Jose for kicking us off this episode.
That was super sick. We really appreciated that submission. Mm-hmm. And we would love to do more.
Have a spooky Friday the 13th.
Have a weird one.